So first things first, let us introduce, we've got Jack from the An Awful Lot of Running podcast, and we've also got Davis from Broke Cannon from YouTube fame. How are you both doing this evening?
Doing grand,
very
feeling
well,
proper.
thank you.
Good.
I'm going to be in my best behaviour.
Yes, so Davis is all dressed up because he's going to be moderating this chat between myself and Jack. I'll just move my webcam. I'll just put myself in the middle. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to leave this first to Jack, who's going to introduce, because it's his podcast. He's here for an Awful Lot of Running podcast, who's recently had an episode drop with a trio of YouTubers who you may be aware of for a debate segment. So, Jack, if you want to introduce yourself and let us know what you bring into the dojo today.
What I bring to the dojo. I mean, I think you're going to find out very quickly why I decided to co-host that podcast rather than be a combatant myself. But I'm going to try my best tonight anyway. I am Jack Alexander on Twitter. I co-run and co-host the An Awful Lot of Running Doctor Who podcast. And as Will was saying there, we very recently started a brand new show under that umbrella, that being called Battles in Fandom, in which we introduce and bring on a panel of 3 guests to battle it out in 5 debate-style questions and a speed round to decide who is top Doctor Who fan of the week and who is a fake fan. And that's basically what we do, yeah.
and he's now brought it to this live stream. So Davis is going to be moderating this. You all know Davis. He's from Broke Cannon, from Doctor Who OPs. He's recently dropped a Flux one, which was very, very good, if I may say.
Thank you. Supposed YouTuber and Battles in Fandom loser, officially. So that's why I've been bumped down to judge today.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
He lost so hard, he became judge and also a producer. He gets a producer cred as well now. So.
Consolation prize.
Didn't realise there was such a clear hierarchy here. So before we get started, there are links to Davis's channel and Twitter in the description below. There's also a link to Jack's Twitter and the An Awful Lot of Running Twitter, so you can check out the episodes there. Subscribe on Spotify, Anchor, iTunes, your podcast platform of choice to check those out. But this one is going to be between myself and Jack. So how are we going to do this, chaps?
Well, I say usually, we've done one episode of this, but usually I would introduce the question, who obviously tonight the questions have been composed by the excellent Davis here. So, and he being our judge, I think it only right that he introduced the question, and then I suppose we decide who goes first, and that will determine an order for our 3 questions. Because say I go first for a question, you go first on the second question, then we do it that way. Just gives some sort of
basically remember movie fights. If anybody remembers movie fights,
I was trying to do it without being like, this is just basically a rip off.
You can't get past it,
but it is. It's a rip off of movie fights, but for Doctor Who. So yeah,
it's a good format, and if they're not using it, no. Feel free to get competitive. Do feel free to go at each other's picks. There's just as much value in the counter argument as there is the argument in this, as I learned the hard way. And I will be judging you based on the argument, not any of my own biases or what I think is my favourites.
Okay, and it's best 2 out of 3 as well. I think we'll do all 3 anyway, regardless of the outcome of the first 2, but it's best 2 out of 3.
Okay. I'm also
he's
not
so
playing
confident.
favourites.
He thinks he's going to beat me straight away.
I actually think it's anyone's game. I think
anyone's game. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad someone does.
Well, to be fair, I do have. I'm control of the live stream. I can mute you both. But if I mute Jack, I'm muting the moderator, so that's instant bad karma points.
Technically, he does outrank us here as well. So yeah. Well...
It's true.
Hello everyone, welcome to Battles in Fandom. Your first question today, answer me my riddles 3. Both people have brought an argument, they've made one at home, and the first question is, what's the worst rare one-off performance from a series regular? What's an actor who you usually adore and admire their work? What's one story where they were really off their game?
Judge, since you're the guest, would you like to go first?
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, so let's go for it. Okay. I took a lot of soul searching to come up with this one. because it's not very often I see a performance in Doctor Who and I go, oh, that was, from someone that I really genuinely think is really great and not like. Then our wonderful moderator here actually gave me a very good suggestion, and I said, oh yeah, actually remembering this, and I've gone for Matt Smith in Victory of the Daleks. Now,
please take it away.
I'm a very big fan of Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor. I think he is fantastic in the role. I mean, there's a reason why our esteemed host here had an amazing segment every week called the Matt Smith Moment of the Week. So, it sort of shows what a pedigree he sort of had as an actor and as the Doctor. My issue is with Victory of the Daleks, from the minute he steps out the TARDIS, you can tell it's very early in the production schedule. In my opinion, you can see that there's some teething problems there, where he's coming through, and there's definitely the 11th Doctor starting to make his way through, but he's not quite there yet. And you get to later on in the episode, and it does become an exposition dump. And bless him, he stood there trying to talk to two different sets of Daleks, including the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Daleks, which I know you're a big fan of, Will.
Yep.
Very I know there's a lot of history on your channel concerning them, so but there's a lot of just sort of, he's almost there, he's almost quite there, and I find it quite disappointing to rewatch now, because it is just, you get these flashes of the 11th Doctor, but he's not quite there yet. He's very much playing a generic Doctor, which is, I feel terrible saying that, but it's Mark Gatiss wrote it, and Matt Smith hadn't been cast at the time, and he wrote it for a generic Doctor. I think even he wrote it in his mind, right? Well, if I don't know what Doctor it is, I'm writing it for the third Doctor, and because of it being written for that generic Doctor, you can sort of swap out any Doctor in that story, and I don't think you can say that for many stories in Doctor Who, to be honest. And it's sort of, it speaks volumes when you're looking at a Doctor, when you can say, oh yeah, but you could have put anyone else in there in that situation.
Okay, so my pick for a very rare bad performance from an otherwise great actor is Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor in Revenge of the Cybermen. I've already seen some people in chat talking about like Meglos or State of Decay. I didn't want to go that low. I didn't want to do that low blow because I think he had Spanish flu at the time or something. So 7 years at the end of a grueling TV schedule, that felt a bit low. But Tom Baker, first year as the Doctor, season 14, he's the Doctor immediately in Robot. I think he's terrific throughout, but I think a lot of that energy is kind of lost by the time you get to Revenge of the Cybermen, where I think he seems very just disinterested in the material, very disinterested in front of the camera as well. I think everyone else is kind of trying to sell the credibility of the Cybermen as a threat. There's that shot and moment where it's him and Elizabeth Sladen being pinned down by the two Cybermen, and he's just like, yeah, we surrender. Whatever. And whereas like Elizabeth Sladen is really trying to sell it. There is the iconic, you've no hope, no influence, nothing. But that is a rare moment of authority in a story where it kind of seems like he doesn't sell the credibility of what the story's going for. I just think it's a very rare miss in what is otherwise a spectacular run for him in his first year of the show. I think he embodies the Doctor so well, but I think when he is not that invested in the material, it does reflect on screen. And I think Revenge of the Cybermen is a very early example of that for the Fourth Doctor's run. But for Matt Smith in Victory of the Daleks, I think that's actually, it's a generic Doctor performance for the Mark Gatiss script, and I think it was that and the Angel two-parter, where it was his very first time filming for the role. But I still think even though he hasn't quite settled into the role yet, he's making an impact with the Jammy Dodger, Don't Mess With Me, Sweetheart, the run. Like, I think he's got a great running back and forth down the Churchill corridors. The scenes where he's trying to talk to Churchill and he's like looking around his shoulder for the Daleks. I think you put him up against the Daleks and he sells the credibility of the Daleks' threat even before they've done anything. Tom Baker for the Cybermen doesn't sell the credibility of the villains.
I definitely see what you're saying. I guess we're fighting now. I guess we're going for it. Gonna get my fisticuffs in now. I definitely I see what you're going for there, and I definitely do. But I completely disagree on the terms of the corridor parts with Matt Smith. I actually wrote down this isn't the West Wing, and you can tell because though I definitely felt those parts going down the corridor, especially the first part when they're walking, they're going to go up to the roof to see the Ironsides for the first time. I felt that awkwardness, and there's a part when they're going up in the lift, and I was just like, he's not sure what he's doing with this right now in this second. He's not looking at the same sort of trickster god, this Loki character that he becomes. He's not there yet. He's just sort of, and again, you can tell that like the next episode in the production schedule was the 11th hour, because you go into the 11th hour, and very much like Tom Baker in Robot, he's the Doctor. He is there. You can see those teething problems here that he then, brought apart. And what I would say about your pick there, I would say Tom, no matter how you see it, he never puts in a bad performance because he is infinitely watchable. I don't think I've ever seen an episode, even when you're talking about, later in his tenure, when he seems old and he seems tired, and let's face it, he's pissed off everyone behind the scenes. He's still watchable, and I think it totally makes sense for his Doctor as well when you get to Meglos to be tired and like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
A
counter argument, anyone? Well, before we get into the final picks,
I do. I want to ask Jack real quick. What for the Victory of the Daleks scene? Like, what did you think of his outburst against the Dalek? Where it could be a bit hammy. It could be a bit hammy. I personally like it because it does feel so undoctorly. But I think kind of Matt Smith sells it. But maybe we don't see many more moments like that from him throughout the rest of the era.
No, I think I agree with you there. It does feel it feels very out of character and very even. I wouldn't even say necessary for his Doctor really, but it does feel like one that's. And I'll be honest, it's a part I kind of like because it's him being driven to that point of having all that happen. So I'm giving you props there, Will. Yeah, I do like that part, but. Even that one part, and like I say, there are flashes of brilliance. There's flashes of 11 coming through there. For the most part, I just find his performance in that just not to the level that it usually is. But like I say, with Tom and Revenge, it's to labour a dead point, but I can't. Tom is, to quote our moderator here, he's one of those genuinely weird people. And
I'll allow it.
He's got that. It's like you just can't take your eyes off because you're not sure what he's going to do next. He's got that unpredictability about him, and I think no matter what story you're watching, he exudes fun, and I can't say there's been a bad performance for him genuinely. So
we're gonna cut off that first round there. It's neck and neck. It's an unforgiving question. We stayed as respectful as we could about it, obviously. So good show, but of course, a good performance only can go as far as a good script in some ways. Which script of the two? Because we didn't exactly pick the strongest of the bunch here, coincidentally. Which script had the most potential to give an actor? Now, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds each, starting with Will.
I think Big Finish did the Return of the Cybermen story, which was based off Jerry Davis' original pitch for it. It's still not that good of a story. I think Victory of the Daleks has got a terrific first act up until the testimony when he has his big "I'm the Doctor" moment, which I think he lands. Then it's like, okay, now we're just on a spaceship and we're going to let the CGI effects and the brand new Dalek designs take over. I think that Victory had the best potential, and I think it fell furthest, but I think Revenge of the Cybermen kind of just plateau all the way through, and the energy from Tom is just not there, especially at the end of a very long season, whereas Matt Smith nearly started with Victory.
Okay, and over to Jack.
I mean, I love these Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Daleks. I do. I do. It annoys me to this day that I never got the orange one. And I've got the four of them, but if anyone's ever hit me up, that'd be great. In terms of best script, I think You know, the most potential. I think it was Victory of the Daleks had the most potential. I do. I have to agree with Will there. Although I have to disagree with the Big Finisher one last year, which I absolutely adored from John Dorney. But I think Victory had a lot of potential. But like you say, you know, the first half is very good. You know, Doctor performance aside, and then you get to the spaceship and it's just exposition dump after expedition dump, and suddenly it's CGI, and then you've got the new Daleks, and then there's strange little plot hole things that come through, and yeah, it's not the one.
Okay. Food for thought, food for thought. I was really excited to hear the responses to these ones because it's an interesting question. It's not one that I don't think fans usually get to talk about because we're so spoiled for choice when it comes to performances in classic and revival. I'm going to give this first round to Will. I really liked the secondary part where, of course, when it comes down to a specific Big Finish, we had to sort of neutral charge where I agree with that. I don't like that one. Or I disagree with that. I don't like that one. You know, it's hard to fight against these titans about like Tom Baker and Matt Smith have to be right up there. But I liked the point of the dishevelment really comes across on screen, and it's plain as day, as opposed to whatever was going on with Matt Smith, which we also know. But I thought Will handled that part of the argument really well.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And can I just say that I was totally lying the entire time. There's not. I really don't dislike any performance at all. I just had to deal with it, you know.
It's even this. I think even for both stories, there's still moments where we love Tom Baker giving Cybermen shade, Matt Smith smacking a Dalek with a spanner. Although at the end when it's like, oh, they can't get away from me again. Matt, do you want to do another take of that? You want to go?
Yeah.
I really do think bringing up the Matt Smith wailing on the Dalek bit was also just, that was almost...
I felt that like smash my jaw.
I think it could have backfired though, because if you really didn't like it and you could have sold your case for it,
I've seen people defend that. I've seen people really defend that.
I ran out of steam. I ran out of steam there. Jack, I kind of like it.
Jack, I threw you a curveball. It ended up being a curveball in your direction, and for that I can apologize. Number 2, staying nice and neutral zone as we can. What's the best Hey, this is why he's the judge. What's the best depiction of a historical figure in all of Doctor Who? Starting with Will.
Okay, so I ummed and ahed quite a lot. I think it's got to be through the revival, just because of how TV drama is structured and cast and everything. And I wanted to go for a slightly unconventional choice. I've gone for Queen Victoria from Tooth and Claw, played by Academy Award nominee Pauline Collins and Doctor Who alumni from The Faceless Ones, because it's not a particularly showy performance, but it's one it's got everything that you want from royalty. You know, it's stoic, it's dignified, she's got presence. You believe that she is a ruler, that she's a monarch. So that surface level stuff is there easy. But I think the way that Pauline Collins carries herself in that role, with this real quiet mourning that she has recently for her husband as well. She's literally carrying the massive diamond around with her, weighing her down, and going on this pilgrimage as well. The Doctor and Rose, while they're trying to get the I'm not amused bit, they've actually found her during a really dark moment in her life, during the annual pilgrimage of the cutting of the diamond, and Pauline sells it really well. That she is able to be really strong and authoritative when she's confronted by that monk, and she takes out the weapon. She says, after 6 attempts on my life, I'm hardly unprepared. And she fires the gun. Like, you're kind of umming and ahhing whether or not she's actually going to do it. But in the dinner table scene, when she's explaining about the supernatural and why she does the pilgrimage, and that she yearns for knowledge of life beyond, because she wants to know that she'll be with her husband again. It's brilliant stuff. The script helps a lot, of course, but Pauline sells it. And of course the ending, I'll call it Torchwood, the whole spin-off is sold on her monologue at the end, which is something that really can't be said for many other actors in Doctor Who.
Solid, strong. Over to Jack.
Okay. I mean, if you want to talk about a solid script, can we bring up the one-hit wonder that is Richard Curtis, bringing us one of the best, not only one of the best historical episodes of Doctor Who, no, one of the best episodes in all of Doctor Who, and it being from the Revival era again. I'm talking about Tony Curran's amazing and heartbreaking portrayal of Vincent van Gogh, or Gough, whichever you go for. I mean, when discussing the best historicals, like I said, this is always towards the top, and it's one of my personal favourite episodes as well, as I'm sure it will be many people in the chat as well. The heartbreaking portrayal of Vincent is not only draws attention to the cruelty of the artist's life, but also the fact that, like, characters like, historical figures like Nikola Tesla, he was only really appreciated following his death. The episode depicts Vincent as a man with demons, hopes, dreams, not as just some hollow caricature of many historical figures of the past, which, let's face it, like you say, we saw a lot in Classic Who. Nero, anyone?
Hey. Hey, no Romans bashing in my debate.
But yeah, look, the script. Richard Curtis's brilliant script channels his own family tragedy into a beautiful episode that ultimately leads to all of us knowing that we're not alone, and someone will always appreciate us and acknowledge the contributions we've had to society and this earth as well. Just Tony Curran, again, just to bring back his performance, just is so beautiful in what it is. It's so earnest and so just everything that had to be for this. And I mean, can I talk about the ending of the episode? Just, yeah. I'll leave it there, and then we can get into some actual fisticuffs.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got Vincent van Gogh versus the Queen. Duke it out.
Right. Can I say first of all, I'm not a royalist in any sense. So
has to be cleared.
has to be cleared. And so already, you're on bad terms with me in terms of this, Will. I think there's a fantastic performance there, as you say, but I just don't think you can compare the two, between the depiction of Vincent in that and the depiction of Victoria, where at the end of it, she becomes an antagonist. She becomes a villain who sets up an entire organization to, defeat, capture, or kill the Doctor. I mean, and we only need to look at the reactions of characters like Sarah Jane or Ace to Torchwood to know their certain feelings of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to modern historical representation, like there's Churchill, so maybe that's a can of worms, isn't it? And
shocked you didn't bring that. Shocked you didn't bring that.
But also people mentioning Simon Callow as Charles Dickens. Great performance, but we're not going to talk about transphobes in this dojo.
That's news to me.
It was a whole thing. I apologize for upsetting the moderator. But yeah, I think for this particular round, this is very interesting pairing, because I think Tony Curran's able to, you get the more showy aspects of performance when he's able to portray the manic depression. That scene in the bed when he's yelling at the Doctor to get out. That's not a slight on the performance. It's just, it's very different from what Pauline Collins' performance is by design. That's just how it is. It's tough to compare. But for Tooth and Claw as well, I think it's because she's able to carry herself as this historical figure who winds up being an antagonist at the end. That subversion as well. I think the fact that Pauline's been able to make it credible and roll with it, I think your point there is actually more like indicative of the range that she shows in there. Not saying Tony Curran doesn't show range in his, but he doesn't say at the end of Vincent and the Doctor when he's dropped off, I will start a painterly society to hunt down the Doctor. But yeah, two very different types of performances. But I think because Pauline Collins is able to carry the weight of someone, a very mournful character in an action-packed story, but not feel like she doesn't belong. She still feels like she's part of that setting, part of the theming. Yeah, I think it's a really admirable performance.
Oh, and I completely agree. It's we both pick very strong picks. So much so that I'm sure if I were to ask you, Will, what your original pick would have been, I'm sure you might have gone even for mine. So
it would have it would have been on the table.
And I have to say that I think although they're both strong, I think Tony Curran and the portrayal of Vincent is more because he goes into those, yes, you speak about, this beautiful portrayal of Queen Victoria, talking about how, she goes through the mourning and the death of her husband, what have you. But Tony Curran there, he's feeling you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling the depression, you're seeing that true, just unbelievable sense of I'm losing steam now again. You're seeing that, you're seeing that amazing sense of just utter wonderment and utter just you just can't believe the compassion that you can't believe the compassion the Doctor has shown him to take him there, and to see this at the end of the episode, to see his work and see him appreciating and something that he'll never truly understand. Or he'll never understand in his own life, and people will never understand about his work either. Sorry.
I've got one more point, one more moment to bring up when they've defeated the wolf at the end in that big room, and she's examining her wrist, and the Doctor's like, "Did that thing bite you?" She says, "No, it's a cut from where a splinter from the door came off," and she's enraptured looking at that injury on her wrist, and it's like, oh, she wants this. I think she likes this idea of this potential empire of the wolf now that she's maybe having to deal with it. The ambiguity is great, but the performance is so strong that it works either way. Like, either she's examining it because she doesn't know, or because, maybe this is a good thing.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Sorry, I'll allow one more.
I was going to say it comes down to, really, with this now, and to our amazing moderator, it comes down to what your definition of the best is, what the best portrayal actually is. Because, could it be, yes, it's this creating a new character in terms of, or taking the character in a different route, which very much is the case they do with Queen Victoria. Look at the Torchwood spin-off audios that she's had following that, where she's a full-on agent of Torchwood. Which is great, but is that true to the historical figure that it's representing? Whereas I feel that Vincent and the Doctor and Tony Curran's portrayal is very much true to it. So in that sense, I would say it's the best portrayal, because it's giving that best version of the character rather than, the actual historical figure.
I have done a fact check. Queen Victoria has not documented to be a part of the Torchwood Institute. So,
oh damn!
No. In the real world history,
okay, that's fine.
In terms of real world history, your argument is actually sound. You're correct.
Okay. So what you're saying is that real world isn't canon.
What I'm saying is that no one has outright lied to my face as a judge yet, and I appreciate that, fellas. All right, okay. So I'm hearing a lot of positivity. It's neck and neck. There's really cool points. But tell me, and feel free to go each other's throats a bit. This has been a very happy round, uncharacteristically happy round, peaceful round. Tell me why your story couldn't have been replaced with another similar historical figure. Tell me why that specific man or woman was necessary, essential to that story.
Shall I go first? Yeah.
If you got it, if you got the point.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, so I am not a historian on the monarchy. I do not know exactly the in-depth history of the royal family. So, but I like it's kind of the idea of the Doctor being embedding himself as anti-establishment, anti-authority, and who the ultimate royal family member during that time as well. I think you couldn't have just had the Lord of the Manor in this story for Torchwood. You couldn't have just had, I'm the mayor of this city. It has to be somebody so fundamentally institutionalized into England, into the United Kingdom. So I'm not going to say that it couldn't have been any other monarch, but I think that it had to have been the Queen. Firstly, it gives the Torchwood such legitimacy in the universe of Doctor Who, but also it also contrasts so well with the Doctor, the 10th Doctor as well, with his bloody sand shoes, being anti-authority and being basically just picking the worst potential enemies. And I think for the 10th Doctor and Rose as well, being so flippant in that story, there's a reason at the end she says your life is full of blasphemy and death, and I will not allow it. Leave my world, never return. So I think that's why it has to be a member of the royal family and Queen Victoria with that backstory with her husband as well. And the real diamond, I forget the name of the diamond off the top of my head, is a real thing. It's a real pilgrimage that she did do, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if they were werewolves or bald monks, but, you know, artistic license.
Another history check. I'll do another history check. Hang on.
Thank you.
Over to Jack. So,
Okay, yeah, okay. I suppose I won't do a counterpoint to that because I don't think it'd be fair because Will's very, you know, I mean, I don't think it could be anyone else other than Vincent van Gogh. Frankly, arguably the most famous painter and artist who ever lived, and with such an iconic story that is so well known. You know, I remember learning in school about the year and about, you know, what happened to him and, you know, how he took his own life. And I think it's a terrible story, which at the same time is so relatable to so many people. I mean, look at Richard Curtis, who wrote this, again, having faced a family tragedy. He channeled it into this beautiful episode, which is so heartfelt and so just, it just makes you cry all the way through, you know. And you have the beautiful, you know, moment where you have, like, you know, it likening itself to Amy, and you have the Vincent there saying, well, you know, you're crying, you know, and obviously her not remembering Rory having just had what happened in is it Cold Blood, the, you know, the Solarian two-parter, and not Cold Blood, isn't it? But, you know, whatever it is, yeah. But yeah, and I don't think you could have that transcend to another historical figure in that same way. I don't see someone else taking that time and just, yeah, I don't see it happening for anyone else. It's certainly not in an effective way. I mean, I'm sure, you know, there could be an episode about it, but I don't think I prefer it to what we got. Okay. Whereas, brilliant. You know, yeah. No, sorry, I can't do it. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Any counters to that, William? Before we wrap up?
No, I'm happy with that.
We're sound. We're happy. Okay. And I know who I'm picking, but just for my own amusement, who wins in a fist fight between our two historical figures?
Oh, Queen Victoria all the way.
Yeah, she has the weapon. She's got a gun in her purse. And the chat's saying it's the Kohinoor diamond. So yeah, that's what the diamond's got for the pilgrimage.
Mm.
Okay. For the record, so everyone does know in the chat, both people in this wanted Vincent van Gogh. Jack called dibs. It was a first come first serve basis. Just so you know, but that doesn't come into terms of how I judge the actual argument. I think so much these historical figures are portrayed so well that so much of it is just, you feel it emotionally, that it's hard to come up with a specific argument for them even. I'm going to go with Will on this one, again, just because of more specific points. Mm-hmm. Jack, you know I love you, Jack.
I completely agree. Yeah, I said this has happened. Yeah, there's a reason I judge.
Yeah, and you know why I started coming undone on the show as well at points when you like get so in your head about an answer, or you feel so attached to the answer. There was some stumbling over in that first bit, and I think that's why the format's so fun, because not only is it who's brought the best argument, but like who's gonna get in the dirt with it. And for that, I think we'll take it again, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh well, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm willing to be the villain of this if it turns out to be a 3-0. It's on me.
And the chat's just going to be confused. Why is this handsome chap in the suit so villainous and evil today?
Suck up is what it is. Yeah, it's heating up. It is really heating up.
That's because you're there, Davis.
Okay, no, it's intense here. It's intense here.
This is Dr. Davis, and the suit is like Master Davis.
I've been jotting down, pretending to jot down notes. And I just want everyone to know there is nothing there. It's a farce. Your final question today,
you know my secret.
Is that what you do too? That's great.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, final question. You're backpacking around the Hooniverse. You've got 6 days on the trip, and you get to go to 3 different destinations, 3 different locations in the Doctor Whoverse. Where'd you go, and why?
Sure, I'll happily start. Can I just say what an excellent question that is? Like I say, Mr. Dapper Davis himself. I went for the right picks, by the way. If I'm backpacking my way for the Hooniverse, I want to stay alive. I want to have a good time, and I want to be nice and relaxed and enjoy myself. So the 3 planets I'll be visiting will be Planet Karaoke, Planet of the Oods, and Midnight. Now, those of you that may not be familiar with Planet Karaoke, I just have to turn your attention to the backups in the 12th Doctor Titan comics. It's a beautiful old planet, which I believe karaoke actually originated from, which is just a planet where they just party all the time and do karaoke. You've seen doctors form bands together, or try to form bands together, and even masters try and successfully form bands together as well, which is rather strange. And I would love to go to this planet. On my stag do, I went and did karaoke, and it was so much fun. So to have 2 days of non-stop partying and just singing my heart out, it just sounds brilliant to me. Just sounds like so much fun. You know, get some drinks in there, get some partying on, belt out some strange, some strange Lupari songs or what have you on. Just because it all gets translated as well, which is great.
He's a Lupari man. I respect it. Great genre.
Yeah. Dan Vanista for the win.
Music for dogs.
We do have the Dan Vanista progenitor in the chat, by the way. Curiosity Box.
Oh yeah.
And one of their picks was Dan's house.
Oh. Okay, so I start off my nice little trip, 2 days at Planet Karaoke, and then head my way to the Planet of the Ood. Now, this is again trying to meet. I'm imagining this is post Planet of the Ood. This is post series what is happening.
Yeah. Please do.
I do not want any Red Eye Ood coming after me, so I'm going to get there. It's going to be chill. It's going to be kind of like a snow Burning Man.
Is that the only reason, Jack? That's the only reason we don't want to go post slavery.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, that's
cool.
slavery back.
John it down.
So let's face it. I want to get there. You know, the Ood have their amazing mind powers. I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna sit there and have these beautiful songs in my head and just have 2 more days of just chill and just, you know, having just the most amazing sort of transformative experience in my life. I'm gonna track down and see if I can find my good old friend Brian. He won't be there, but still.
Amazing. Ood Burning Man. That's inspired. And our third final location to round up the trip.
The final pick is Midnight. Now, for the spa, okay, which to be fair, for anyone that knows Doctor Who and lives in Wales, it's just the Celtic Manor in Wales. It's just the Celtic Manor. And I've been to the Celtic Manor. We went there on our honeymoon, and it is lovely. It is so wonderful. I had the best steak of my life. So I'm basing it on that. And even if the pool is abstract, it's great. I am definitely not going on any on any trips. I can tell that. I'm not going to is it the Crystal Falls? I believe it is. Or for obvious reasons. Yet again, I'm not doing that. You know. So having had my party in time in Planet Karaoke, my Burning Man festival with the Snow Ood over there, I'm just gonna relax and come back to things, and again, stay alive.
I respect it. I think you've described Dubai.
Hey.
Overall, it's a very Dubai style trip. And yes, okay, credit to you. Will, please tell us your 3 destinations.
Yeah, I think you've hit a good idea with Midnight, because everything only went wrong in that story because the bus took a different route. Everything seemed good on that planet until change happened. Okay, so my 3.
This is what I'm saying. Thank you for helping with my argument, Will. Yes.
So good.
Count it.
So my 3 planets of choice. Firstly, Barcelona, not the city Barcelona, the planet Barcelona. 2, Darillium. And 3, the library. So firstly, for the planet Barcelona, you'd love it. Fantastic place. They've got dogs with no noses. That's it.
Excellent.
That's it. That's all I need to say. For Darillium, beautiful restaurant there. The singing towers as well. Takes a while to get an appointment. However, I'm a very patient live streamer. Okay, I'm very patient. I don't mind waiting for the appointment at the restaurant there. Beautiful sights, all the sounds of the towers. That seems like a very upmarket, lovely place to go to. But also, I've picked the library because I'm expecting, but Mr. TARDIS, what about the Vashta Nerada? However, firstly, the Vashta Nerada can be anywhere. any planet. So they could even be on Oodsphere. Not every
Damn.
shadow, but any
Damn.
shadow. And also, because if something does go wrong in the library, they weren't killed by the Vashta Nerada. They were saved by the library computer. So anything bad goes wrong at the library, you're fine. Whereas on these other planets, if something goes wrong and the Doctor's not there, if the Ood get a bit of red eye, if the midnight creature decides to skulk around a bit more, then and the Doctor's not there, well, even if the Doctor's there for midnight, oh no, that's not happening. But yeah, for the library, biggest library in the universe, so big it doesn't even need a name. It's even got a little shop in there as well. Yeah, all of the books you could ever need as well. Nice, relaxing time. Yeah, lovely. And I don't need to also say anything any more about the planet Barcelona. Like, that's it.
Of course. No, there's nothing.
That's it.
What more is there to say?
I mean, sorry, our esteemed moderator. I feel like you do. I feel like you, if the main sell, if the main sell of your planet is that it's dogs with no noses. I'm not gonna lie. If I saw a dog with no nose, I would be. I first of all, I'd be very, very concerned for the poor thing, and upon realizing, oh no, they just don't have noses here, I'd be freaked out.
Okay, so this is a slightly more meta way to break it down, but Planet Barcelona is like one of those planets, like Women Wept, or one of those other planets that gets mentioned as, oh, we had a great time here. Nothing went wrong on this planet, and Planet Barcelona almost became that story at the end of Series 1, beginning of Series 2, but we just never saw it. So I'm going to put it in that same category of great unseen planets that must be great, because nothing wrong happened there.
It's also possible the most notable thing about it is the fact that their dogs don't have noses, which might mean it's a very normal place. So
yeah, you can get 2 days of enjoyment out of that.
Nice neutral statements from your moderator.
Can you get 2 days of enjoyment out of dogs with no noses?
To quote
I feel like I would go, oh, that's cool for about 10 minutes and go, right, well, what else is there to do here? And oh no, that's our draw, that's our thing.
To quote the Ninth Doctor in his final moments, so don't disrespect a dying man. Imagine how many times a day you end up telling that joke and it's still funny. There's got to be 2 days of enjoyment of dogs with no noses.
Got you with the quote, I'm afraid. That's going down. That's going down.
No.
Jack. Yeah. We've got more in this argument. I know.
Yeah. Okay. So well, let me compare it to, again. I've got a planet where it's all about karaoke as my first one.
That's what I'm going to need you to elaborate more on why this isn't a waking nightmare. As someone who likes karaoke.
That's the thing. You're talking about personal picks now. I love karaoke. I would quite happily take 2 days of karaoke. I would quite happily do that. And don't get me wrong, my voice would be gone by the end of it. But by the time I get to the Oodsphere, they can read my mind anyway, so I can just speak to them for my thoughts. Be like, right, okay, let's do this. But let's do this Burning Man stuff, Oodsphere. Come, let's go for it. And like I said, they can. So yeah, I think a planet of where you can do karaoke, you can literally have a universe full of songs and different things to go from. You have an audience there, or chant you on. You have multiple Doctors and Masters appearing as well that will have a good time. Which I think that beats the dog with no nose personally.
There's a lot you can say about people. There's a lot you can say about people based on where they choose to go on holiday. If you're a judgmental prick like me, anyway, once you've done with that counter argument there that I just cut you off from, pick one destination from each one and go go really into what kind of person would really enjoy that. Take it away, Jack.
Okay, so we've got Barcelona. We've got what was your second one? Sorry, well, bad. Darillium. Oh, there you go. It's I forgot it. And then you got the library. So. I mean, again, so what is there to do under the room? There's the amazing restaurant, which you have to book years in advance. Are you planning this trip for years, or you will, before going off on it? You say you're a patient man. Yeah. You've got 2 days to be there. Are you going to spend 2 days in the restaurant?
I'm going to visit the Singing Towers.
And
have you got much more to do there, or are you just literally going to see the towers and
how long is a night on Darillium though? That's 2 days. You can get a lot of stuff done.
Hang on. I'm looking up the legal ruling here on that, actually.
I just
No,
thought
I'm
of that
actually
now,
going to-
though, to be honest.
That's a good cheat. That's a great cheat, and I'll give you
it's
points.
a good cheat, but it does
absolutely
it does...
no way.
Okay, and then your final pick is the library, which, as you say, yeah, there could be Vashna anywhere. I mean, there could be sharks anywhere in the sea, but I'm still not going to go to where there's a high vicinity or high amount of them. You say, what is it? Moffat has that great line which wrote in the Vashna, they are the dust in sunbeams. You quoted on our podcast one time yourself, Will. And yeah, and I'm sorry, if there's a high consistency of that dust or a high amount of it, I don't want to go to that planet. I'm not going to lie. I love to read. I do. I don't think I can spend 2 days just reading. And I'll be honest, the library, there's far too much choice. Every book that's ever existed. How am I going to choose between my Brandon Sanderson and my Emily Dickinson? How am I going to choose what I'm going to read out of those things?
What a filing system they must have, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also maybe audiobooks, and maybe they beam it into your head.
They could have Big Finish there. Oh, I'm salty.
and it's still very expensive.
To be fair, the Ood also have a big Finish stock, and they can also transport it into your head. So to be fair, I think that's a neutral one. Yep.
Oh, why is Briggs playing 9 in every one? I don't get it.
Nightmare Future. Okay, brilliant. Any other closing remarks or gotchas?
My main thing is because for Planet of the Ood, yeah, that seems quite tranquil after the Ood rebellion and the uprising, and they seem to be quite chill when we see them at the beginning of the end of time. But it kind of seems like unless you're the Doctor or accepted company, then they maybe just want to be left alone. Maybe they just want to chill with their little brains in their hands. And also for Midnight, I think at the end of the story, the 10th Doctor says, let them build the Leisure Palace elsewhere. So maybe by the time you get there, there's not even a Leisure Palace anymore. Maybe
it's the end of time one, maybe.
Yeah, but you could say that with any of our picks. I mean, by the time we get there, there could be no library. There could be no. I'm choosing when to go there.
There's a political situation's dodgy over on Noodsphere.
Yeah. Maybe we'll holiday on Skaro this year. Maybe. No, I mean, yeah, and you spoke to it about the Midnight Creature coming for it. But Will, let's face it, everyone agrees that Midnight is never going to get a sequel because it shouldn't have it. So I don't need to worry about it. It's never going to come for me. I'm never going to have that episode.
That's what a choice of a counter argument. I'm not going to create the sequel story. I'm not going to.
Again, I'm just going to chill out. I'm just going to chill out in the Celtic Manor because that's what it is. It's just the Celtic Manor in space.
Lovely. Wow. I'm amazed no one picked. I mean, to me, the obvious pick was actually just Wales because of all the choice Doctor Who gives you in Wales. You can go anywhere in Wales.
The planet Wales.
Yeah, I live on planet Wales. Yes.
Yeah, maybe not an idea for a destination then. Maybe that's not a getaway. Brilliant. Okay. This was obviously one of the quippier joke rounds to finish off. And how far can you go with Karaoke World or Barcelona? They're one-liners. Especially in Karaoke World's case, we don't see anything of that place. For all we know, it is literally karaoke room after karaoke room, which is so funny to me. Oh man. Okay, but we got some really solid back and forth considering there's a joke question. This one, and not just for optics, this one goes to Jack. Easy. I would love that trip. I would absolutely love that trip. If you're a travel agent, you've just sold me on the Ood Burning Man alone. That's going to be a next level. Yeah. Good thing we've got the spa booked for after. We're going to need it.
Yeah, need it definitely.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think with Darillium, once you get past the singing towers and the restaurants, what else is there?
I'm sorry that I joined in on the digging in a bit there, but
you're all right. It didn't hold up to scrutiny.
Not at all. I'm a terrible judge. I've lost this episode, this incarnation of Bowers and Fandom, but I guess our winner is by points, William.
Brilliant. Yes. Well, thank you
Well
very
deserved.
much.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, thank you so much. But if you want more Doctor Who debatey goodness, then check out An Awful Lot of Running podcast. I'll let Jack let you know where you can find all of that stuff. There are links in the description, but I'll let Jack give the pitch for the podcast and where everyone watching can check it out.
Sure. Well, An Awful Lot of Running, Doctor Who podcast, is basically my reaction to lockdown. Let's face it, myself and everyone's mum started a podcast during lockdown. And I just chose to do mine about Doctor Who because I'd hit burnout, and people like Will and Sam and the amazing Emily Cook with her Doctor Who live streams and, Doctor Who lockdown stuff just brought me back into Doctor Who because I'd hit burnout. And I just wanted to celebrate that. So I came up with An Awful Lot of Running, which is a great discussion-based podcast where myself and my co-host Robin just talk about lots of different topics. And then our brand new show, Battles in Fandom, is where we just, as David said himself, we just rip off movie fights, but do it about Doctor Who, which is a lot of fun. I mean, like Sam said, they're not using the format, so why shouldn't we? And it works very well. I think we've had our first episode out of that. We're doing pretty well. And it's just a lot of fun. So if people want to check that out, we are available out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts, basically. We are just An Awful Lot of Running, a Doctor Who podcast. And check us out on Twitter as well, myself at Jack Alexander, and the podcast is An Awful Lot of Running. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Davis, everyone already knows who you are anyway, but thank you so much for being our moderator, for taking time to be in the middle of myself and Jack for this stream. Plug away anything you wanted to shout out.
Sure. Yeah, I can't get enough of the Battles in Fandom format. It's so fun. It creates the one I was on with Rory and Philip was just it brings out new points of view. I wouldn't find myself arguing against the Sarah Jane Adventures. I would never have me down as that guy, but because of the devil's advocate nature of it, it ends up that being me more so than even my own stuff. For my own stuff, I'm trying to branch out. I'm going to try a couple more film series, get back to my film basics. So maybe some of those film videos might get 10 views a pop, but it'd be great to have somebody around for that when they do come about.
No, brilliant stuff. There's links to both Jack and Davis's stuff in the description below. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us on stream this evening for this fun debate. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast. I massively appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, take care. Have yourselves a great week. Take care, everyone.
Peace.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't? Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you once again so much to Jack for being part of the debate and for the best 2 out of 3. That was a lot of fun. I think Davis is absolutely right. The whole format of you have to fight for a position that you might not otherwise hold, and I think that's absolutely true for the Queen Victoria pick for best historical performance. Because as we said, I wanted Tony Curran as Vincent van Gogh, and when I couldn't get it, okay, who's the second best? And now I have to really fight and delve into that performance and that story. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, really enjoyed that. And once again, thanks so much to Davis for moderating that, for being in the middle. Massively appreciate it.